My enthusiasm to have my voice back yesterday, I realized afterward that I forgot to share something that I had been getting several questions about and that I commonly get asked about. So please let me know if this is a topic that you would like to see me cover in a regular post on my feed. I'd be happy to do that. But in Monday's reel, I was discussing how you need that sequence of inhale, lower, exhale, lift, pelvic floor lifts, lower abs engage, middle abs engage, ribs close down. And that when the sequencing happens in this order, it keeps you from putting pressure out into your belly or down onto your pelvic floor. But the part where most people get confused is, am I supposed to hold this all day long? Is this a brace? When do I relax it? So if this is a question for you, if this is something that you would like to see up on my feed to be able to check back and reference regularly, let me know. Okay, and the answer to do we brace and hold it, or when do we relax and release this creation of tension, is it depends on what you're doing. So when you're sitting at rest, there's not going to be much engagement of your pelvic floor, your abs, your ribs. There's not a whole lot there that's going to happen, but it also depends on how relaxed you are when you're sitting. If you're sitting and balancing, there's going to be some level of engagement in order to hold yourself in upright sitting, but your breathing is still going to happen and there's still going to be plenty of range involved in your inhale and your exhale. Versus if you're holding something, if you're carrying something heavy, if you're lifting, if you're exerting a lot of effort, your contraction is going to be harder. You still have to breathe. I still don't want you to hold your breath, but the inhale and exhale that's going to happen is going to be in a much smaller range. So the sequencing of inhale, exhale, pelvic floor, lower abs, middle abs, ribs is the same. That sequence happens whether you're, I hate to say at rest because you're not really contracting a ton at rest. It depends on how relaxed you are. But that sequencing of inhale down, exhale up, let's put it that way, still happens regardless of what you're doing. But how much excursion you allow in your inhale and your exhale depends on how much effort you're putting forth. The more effort you're putting forth, the smaller the range you're going to allow, and the less effort you're putting forth, the more range, the more excursion you're going to allow in both directions. So hopefully that helps connect some dots or answer some questions on that one. But definitely let me know if you want to see this in my feed. All right, and then let's talk a little bit more about strengthening your abs. So yesterday I went into a lot of detail about diastasis recti, but I want to add to that conversation. So the six-pack abs are the ones that run vertically. They're also called your rectus abdominis. When you contract those, you bring them closer to each other. So if you have a gap, a contraction of your rectus abdominis helps to narrow that gap. But if you have depth in your gap, a contraction of your transverse abs, the deeper ones, helps to create tension in that gap. So instead of it being soft and squishy and sinking into it, the transverse ab contraction is what creates the tension. Rectus brings it together, transverse abs tension it. We need both, but the more functional is the contraction of your transverse abs, because like we talked about yesterday, we want that tension across the linea alba. And in today's reel, I want to give you ideas for strengthening your abs. So most of the time, what you see, or what I hear people talk about, is lying on their back. I'm lying on my back, I'm doing crunches, I'm doing bicycles, I'm doing dead bugs, I'm doing heel taps. And all of those exercises are appropriate for strengthening your abs. There's nothing wrong with any of those exercises. The problem is that people who have really weak abs stand a bit like this, with their ribcage tilted up or their pelvis tilted down, so that they're creating this length and they have tight muscles in their lower back. And then they go to lie on their back and gravity is keeping them in this same position that they like to fall into, the length here and the tightness here, and their efforts are not going into the right places. And so instead, my suggestion is try different positions. For some people, standing up might help you better to feel your abs. But even if you're standing up, you're still facing the floor, and that is helping you to create this length in your back and this engagement in your front, which is the reverse of what you do if you're somebody who stands like this. So as you face the floor, whether you're standing or whether you're in hands and knees, you're reversing your natural tendency. You're lengthening your back, you're engaging your front, and I can almost guarantee you will feel a better ab engagement. And if you don't feel a better ab engagement, it probably has to do with your breathing. Make sure your inhale goes down and that you're trying to contract on your exhale. And if you can't feel a better ab engagement when you do that, I want to hear about it.